Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently not exactly in orbit over the moon, but we are commencing our flyby on our way out of the Kerbal system. So let's go ahead and warp on up over this way, exiting the moon. And then of course we're going to warp on over, somewhere over like here, right? That's 19 days? That's about right. We definitely don't want to be back here. So yeah, sometime around here would do just fine. So go on and warp up there. Of course, our next step is to set Duna as our target. I don't think we need to do an inclination change here. It's only 0.1 degrees. We can probably work that into our intercept. So, where would it be if we were to look to intercept here? This timing is probably terrible. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. No doubt about that one. We're probably going to have to wait in orbit. Okay. Yep, we're definitely going to have to wait in orbit. So this transfer window is not good. That's fine. Why are we suddenly focusing the sun? Can we not? Let's focus Duna for now. Actually, the sun is reasonably fine, I guess. And set Duna as our target. There we go. And did this actually start burn in 2 years, 24 days? Oh, did this add an extra day? Apparently it did. Exciting. Okay, so we're just going to back this off a little bit here. And we'll have to adjust our timing somewhat. There we go. Right at the apoapsis. That's not bad. I like it. So where is this actually coming in at? Actually, that's not bad at all. We can toss in a... If I can select the maneuver. Can I please select the maneuver? Apparently not. Exciting. There we go. Okay, so with the maneuver selected, now I want to add in a teeny tiny amount of radial here. I feel... Or not radial. Ooh, this is not doing what I was expecting it to do. This does what I'm expecting it to do. Do we need a little bit of radial here? Perhaps. Yes. A tiny amount of radial appears to do the trick. Surprisingly. Okay. And then bringing up our inclination a little bit. That looks about right. We can always adjust this later if we need to. So realistically, I think this is fine. We may want to consider bringing it in closer, not that close. We don't want to be retrograde here. So bringing this in a little bit more along the lines of... That actually gets us an Ike encounter. Hilarious. Okay. Something kind of like this. Kind of. That's retrograde there, I think. Okay. Ooh. Bringing it back around. Okay. This is good enough. This is good enough. Well, I say that, but I really do want it to be more equatorial. So let's pull that on in and just do something like this. That'll work. So let's get set up for our maneuver node here. And let's just get turned on around. This is going to be a pretty lengthy time warp. Hello, Kerbal. Hello, Moon. We are going to be going away. We are not coming back here with this particular ship. And that's fine. We'll start this time warp. It's a long one, so I'm going to... Oh, we're physics warping. Let's stop the physics warp. I'm going to pause the recording here, and we'll be back near the end of this warp. See you guys in a bit. Okay, and here we are nearly at the end of the warp. In fact, there's the end of the warp right there. Fantastic. This burn time is going to be about 5 minutes. We're definitely going to physics warp it. And let's just get into position for the actual burn here. 3, 2, 1, mark. And off we go. Okay, we're going to physics warp the burn. And this will be about a 5-minute burn. So of course, with the physics warp, we'll be here for about a minute or so. Not too bad. Excellent. And this should get us a pretty decent encounter over Duna. and in fact 1 over Ike, but we're not interested in 1 over Ike. That is completely irrelevant at this point in time. Cool. So I think we're going to target an orbit of around 60 kilometers around Duna. I'm not sure where the Dunan atmosphere actually starts. No resource data available. Yes, I'm aware of that. Let's see here. 50 kilometers. Okay, so 60 would be fine. Beautiful. So we're going to bring that on in. And we'll check our orbital velocity and what our delta V has left. But we should be able to get quite a lot of burn out of this yet, at that point. I feel like that's pretty obvious. Hopefully. Hopefully that's obvious. Okay, so we are, of course, currently accelerating. This is a prograde burn, as opposed to going the other direction, which would, of course, be retrograde. But this is looking quite good here. We've got about 3, 2, 1, and I'm just coming out of physics warp here. That's probably close enough, 0.1 meters per second off. Okay. Oh, that's so sensitive. Let's go ahead and thrust limit this down to 0.5% here. Like I said, we're targeting 60 kilometers. Okay, there we go. That's much more controllable. Perfect. So 120 there. That'll do. Excellent. So at this periapsis, of course, we're going to add a maneuver. And this is currently going to be like a 4-day, 3-hour burn. That's not actually the time that it will take. We'll just circularize this about like so. That's good enough. Excellent. And we'll unthrust limit this. There we go. Now it's a 4-minute burn. That's more like it. So we're going to position for this. This is going to be another 290-day warp. Again, our transfer window wasn't great. There's no doubt about that. However, I believe we finished this contract during the last warp. Yes, we did. So that means that this Duna outpost is the only contract that we currently have. Let's go ahead and begin this warp here, and we can clear out some of these messages. So that's absolutely fine. We're getting a lot of science points, and we got our contract done for our surface-deployed ion collector data from the surface of Moho. Beautiful. So that's a lot of science data, right? And we can convert that science data into cold hard cash. And that's probably what we're going to do, because it's the only thing we really can do with science data at this point. And that's one of the reasons why we're not super interested in collecting all of the data, right? Because there's not really that much else for us to do with it. So there's a lot of data that we're leaving on the table. No doubt about that. There's another 80 science points. We'll just go ahead and delete that. And now we've got about another 80 days on this warp. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. That's apparently the Ike station. It's slightly off, sure. But here we come. Here we come. So we've now entered orbit over, or not orbit, but we've entered the sphere of influence of Duna. We're going to grab our in-space near science here. Cool. We'll grab our magnetometer report, our materials study, our gravity scan. All of that will be grabbed here. There we go. And we're going to have to retract our magnetometer boom. There we go. And we'll commence this burn here in about 40 seconds. 20 seconds. 10. And we'll commence the burn right about now. This, of course, will be about a 4-minute burn, so we will just hold position and physics warp. Excellent. So we're getting this nice braking burn. We definitely have a lot of delta V left in this thing. A whole lot of delta V. Interesting. So I'm thinking about how we want to handle our descent at this moment. Obviously, we're going to have to stow our solar arrays. There's no doubt about that one. But we'll see. We'll see how much atmosphere we want between us and the ground. That said, this is quite slow. These orbital velocities are very, very low. So that's noted. Okay, I'm going to come out of physics warp here, and we're just keeping an eye on this number. Cool. We're targeting about 60 kilometers. We're seeing our periapsis height raise up and our apoapsis height drop down. That's exactly what we want right now. Cool. About 10 seconds left on this burn. 100 kilometers. 90. 80. 70. It's slowing down. And that'll do. That is a very close to circular burn. I like it. So we're just going to pop over to retrograde here. And the question again becomes, just how much space do we want? Oh, we need to zoom in a bit. Just how much space do we want between us and the ground? Well, I think that we do a retrograde burn around here. And we dip down into the atmosphere to about 30 kilometers. Maybe even 20. Now, this is likely not going to be enough on its own. I think that's very likely. And when I say enough, I mean enough to bring us to the ground. We'll see if it's enough, but I suspect not. And we're probably going to have to commence another burn at that periapsis. And we'll do that with this nuclear engine. It won't lose very much efficiency in the atmosphere, so that's okay. This burn will be starting in about 14 minutes. And let's go ahead and physics warp our turn here. There we go. This is only a 24.5 meter per second burn. We've got lots of fuel left here. So that's looking good. Okay, at this point, we retract our solar panels. We're going to be entering the atmosphere. We're going to run on batteries from here on out. So we will tick on forward. 30 seconds on our burn. 20. 10. And 3, 2, 1, 0. This is only an 8-second burn. There we go. Okay. We're control locked. We lost our data. That's exciting, but we should have data again very soon. So we'll just flip around to retrograde, which is, in fact, exactly where we are. And we're going to get rid of this as soon as we're no longer control locked. Let's just warp on around at this point. And we will enter the atmosphere eventually. Yep, definitely eventually. I'm actually going to physics warp here so that we maintain our retrograde attitude. There we go. Our apoapsis height appears to be dropping. Which is weird, but whatever. That's fine. Atmosphere doesn't start until 50, right? I think it's on the map screen, right? Yeah. Yeah, 50 kilometers. Okay, sure. Well, we are no longer control locked, so that's perfect. And we're trying to come around on the day side, right? That's definitely something that we're trying to do. We're going to go into surface velocity mode. And let's just continue to... At this point, let's time warp. Okay. Now we're in the atmosphere. Well, now we're in the atmosphere. There we go. We'll grab our crew report, and we'll grab our atmospheric analysis. There we go. No problem whatsoever there. And we're beginning to slow down a little bit, or rather, we're losing potential speed, like gravitational potential energy. Or, no, that's not gravitational potential energy at all. That's not it at all. We are just losing momentum due to air resistance, is what this is. So that's fine. We are watching this time to periapsis number reduce. It's going to be a bit. No doubt about that. I wish that we could warp a little bit faster, but it is what it is. So it looks like this is actually going to aero capture us, kind of. I mean, this isn't exactly aero capture, but close enough. It looks like we're not going to be leaving this atmosphere, is what I'm saying. And that's good. That's exactly what we want. Now we're just continuing to travel here until such a time as we feel like we're over a surface that we want to land on. So when will that happen? Well, certainly not until we're more over this way, right? We definitely want it to be daylight. We just entered flight mode, and our apoapsis is about to dip into the atmosphere. So yeah, we're definitely not coming back. That's good. We are still accelerating a little bit towards this periapsis. As expected, it's a very thin atmosphere on Duna. Okay, we're now in impact mode. Beautiful. And we're just traveling right along. Now this looks reasonably fine to honestly do a landing here. So if we're going to do a landing here, we will just commence our braking burn. There we go. I'm actually going to move the parachutes like this. Fantastic. And we're just killing horizontal speed at this point. We're not too concerned about killing vertical speed right now. We will get there. And this actually does have the thrust to weight ratio right now to land on, technically. Barely, but technically. I don't think it actually is viable to do, but technically you could do it. The reason I wouldn't want to do it is because this would be really, really tall, right? And I don't feel like that's good. But let's just go ahead and deploy our landing legs here. We're just looking to kill our horizontal speed with this, and then we'll evaluate from there what we want to do. Cool. So 660 meters per second here. And vertically, like 604, or rather horizontally, like 640. Our speed is almost entirely horizontal at this point, and we are looking to kill that speed. 600 meters per second horizontally. We can now actually send out our drones, which we'll go ahead and do. They won't deploy yet because the atmosphere is too thin at this stage. But they'll deploy as soon as they can. We're not going to be getting to a less safe location for them to deploy. It's just going to get more safe, so it should be fine. Just double checking that they're on minimum atmospheric pressure. Technically, they are not. Okay. We'll just go ahead and turn those down. Cool. And we'll turn these down as well. For whatever reason, I wasn't able to actually turn them down in the VAB. I don't know why that was. And technically, drogue chutes are kind of useless here, aren't they? Now that I think about it. Well, let's go ahead and get the mains out as soon as they're ready. And we're just continuing to slow down here. We're watching this countdown and noting that it is getting closer. But with those parachutes out, we should start to slow down quite a bit. And our thrust to weight here is improving. That said, we're going to want to switch to our chemical engines very soon. Just watching this countdown right now. Still going down. Okay. For the moment, it's reasonably fine. We're watching our vertical speed reduce. Chutes are deployed. So we're seeing our G-force go up there. And this countdown is now increasing. Okay, beautiful. So from here, we're going to cut our engines. We're going to ditch all of this. We do lose some fuel there. We knew that would happen. And that's completely and totally okay. Now I'm watching our speed here. We're not going to have to do much burn to actually slow this down. And because of the chutes, this number is very, very inaccurate. Okay. So we're about 2,500 meters up, and we are going to need to slow down somewhat. There's no doubt about that. The chutes are enough to get us to a reasonable speed, and there goes the tanks hitting the surface there. The chutes are enough to get us to a reasonable speed, but not really enough to super slow us down. So, if we were to hard burn here... Okay, I'm just feeling out how much surface speed we get to then, and how long it takes us to get there. Noted. I'm going to let us fall for a bit, and we'll start that burn at somewhere around... I'm thinking 500 meters? That's what I'm thinking right now. That's purely going by my gut. 900. I'm going to go 750, just to play it safe. Okay. Dropping down the throttle a little bit here, and we're watching the speed slowly reduce. We're now at about 500 meters, falling at 11.5 meters per second. And yeah, we are burning Delta V here. We've got so much. I'm not concerned about that. We're at about 300 meters up right now, continuing to descend. Stability assist mode is fine here. 200 meters up. I'm going to start our deceleration. Okay. This is looking good. 7 meters per second. Slowing it down further. And... cool. We have touchdown. Kind of. Are we going to settle in here? Let's bring this up a little bit. And just settle it on in. Okay. Now, we do be sliding. This is not shocking. And what we need to do now is get this stabilizer down. So, that autosave was awkward. But at this point, this torque limit, we're going to have... or not the torque limit, rather. We're going to have the traverse rate be about 10. There we go. And we need Alice to EVA. From here, we are going to grab this strut and just deposit it up here for now and hop back in. Okay. So now we target an angle of 90 here. There we go. Boom. Beautiful. That will give us a lot more stability. And let's just keep doing that. So Alice is going to hop out here. Next, we're going to detach the rest of these. Go on. There you go. Cool. And this one. There we go. And we've almost stopped sliding. I like it. So we're going to grab a traverse rate down to 10 here. That seems to be about the number we like. And then bringing this down to 90. Same thing over here. Traverse rate down to 10. Bringing this down to 90. And we'll deploy our third wing, or rather our fourth wing as well. Cool. Bring that down to 90. And then we ditch these legs. These legs are mostly only used for the actual landing. So we do that, and now we're far more stable. Beautiful. We can turn the SAS off, and that looks good. Okay, we'll extend our solar panels. Bit of wiggling going on out here. Hopefully that stops. Let's go ahead and do a time warp and come off of the time warp, and we'll see. Yeah, that seems more stable. Cool. We'll extend our radiator and our secondary radiator. Cannot deploy while stowed. Yeah, if we reload this, that seems to fix. That's a bug that crops up sometimes. I'm not sure why that happens, but we'll set this target angle down to 0, and then this target angle to 0. We'll deploy our drills, which may push us up a little bit. Indeed. And we'll get these mining. That way we'll have a little bit more mass over here anyway. Cool. And we'll get that going and get our ISRU online. Now, of course, we'd want to deploy our surface deployed science. And that's easy enough to do, especially with us not sliding all over the place. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Next episode, we're going to get that deployed really quickly, hopefully, and then get headed out to dress. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Ken2In, James, Shadowwolf, MLohan80, Kentogan, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Spartan News, Unisol, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.